customer data service, because in the customer data service you have the written customers method, so we need to create an instance for it. So I just created an instance for the customer data service, then you can invoke this written customer method. So using OP, okay, just pass the session header, then using this obj a1 you can invoke the method. Obj a1 dot written customer and pass the city. And what is the type of data you get back? So this is the type of data, customer finder dot wrap inner. So you need to create an instance for it, customer finder dot, so what is the class? So wrap inner. So here is a variable, you can see result equal to, or else another way is, so you can define your own wrapper here. So because anyway we are going to or display the data on a particular Visualforce page, so you can define your own wrap inner and assign the values to that. So like this, let me show you that also. You have three parameters. You can use public because it is internal, it is limited to the client, we are not going to consume this. You can just make it as a public class some wrap inner. The same class definition you can define, public string, one is a name, public string, another one is city, public string, another one is phone number. So these are the three parameters. So here I get the list of data and iterate the list of wrapper and add to the additional wrapper list. This can be the list of data. You can make it as a list type. So both array and list look similar. So I just change it to the list, and you can run a for loop. Or else this particular wrap inner. So this particular wrap inner is always a property. You can directly bind this result data. So better to convert it to the internal list. So I mean the local list you have. I'm declaring wrap inner lst some variable. Make sure the getter and setter. Save it. And I'm going to initialize. So iterate a for loop. Returning, I'm loop through for each record. Obj wi dot. So this result has a list of accounts which are in, which has a multiple parameters like this. Obj wi equal to new wrap inner. So this is a local list. Just initialize the local variable obj.wi dot. What are the parameters it has in the wrap inner? So you can find it in the client generated class. Just go to the wrap inner class. You have a subclass called wrap inner. And what are the parameters? The first one is city. Just copy the name. City equal to this obj. This is a different variable. You can make some other name. Obj1 dot. So this city. So then obj.wi dot. So these are the parameters. Name equal to obj1 dot. So here is the name. Obj.wi dot phone equal to obj1 dot phone. Then once you have the data, prepare the data to the list. Save it. So make sure when you write the code, you can put the debug statement in order to identify whether you get the data or not. So that's the best practice. So this is the calling statement. So I'm just invoking the service method using this. So return customer is the service method. So return customers is the service method where I'm passing the city and identifying the results. And what are the results I have? Storing the data in a result an extra variable and iterating through each record to prepare my list lstwi. Now go to the Visualforce and copy the lstwi. I can directly display here. To display, I go for the page block and page block table. Page block table value equal to lstwi, variable equal to some variable name, column header value equal to the customer name, value equal to w dot. So make sure the same name you have in the wrapper, name, city and phone, all are smaller letters. Account name and account phone and city, phone and city. Save it. So check the data in the service or how many records you have. I have almost 1028 records. So I would like to search with a city value. Open any of the record. So I would like to search with this key, Singapore. Just enter the Singapore and click on find customer. See, so this is it's a general functionality. So when you have the required fields, you cannot perform any action on the Visualforce. What you can do is just fill the required field, then you perform the action. Now I can see 3 records in Singapore. So this is the data comes from the service. I'm able to see, which means my service is working as expected. But to handle the required case, so account name is a required. How can you handle? So that is an action region. So action region is a normal apex. So you put the state, you put this service in the action region. So this is a method and where you get the data. So this is a complete code that you are executing. So just put it in the action region. The portion of the page where it runs the Ajax actions. So that's the purpose of action region. It won't consider other fields in the Visualforce. It will run only the action related elements. Let's say I would like to create a one customer in a particular city. So if I find the customer, so that I know whether the customer is existed or not. So that's where I would like to enter. Action region. Yeah, let me check this. So here is an action. Okay. Action region can handle this. So, but you have to re-render the values. That's where it identify which action should be rendered. So what we can do is action region, and here just use re-render equal to some value, output panel id equal to out, so that it won't consider other elements. Just use output panel and id. So I would like to refresh only this block. So you can include the loading images, or you can include whatever you want. So that's not the part of integration. That is a normal apex you can include addition to this code. See, so only I am rendering this block, so it never consider that. So in case if I see the expected record, I can ignore the step. In case if I don't see the expected record, I can create my customer record. Generally when you create a customer, so we need to check the manual. Generally we do as a business people, I go for account tab, and where I see the list of customers, whether the customer is existed or not, because there will be multiple business people involved in the business. Might be the customer record created by the others, so you need to verify, you need to double check, then only you can create, otherwise the system becomes the duplicate data. Or else there is a unique key where you can write some validations in the backend in order to handle this. Right. So this is about this is another service we built, the customer data service. So questions here.
Nara, can you please quickly review the complete steps one, like not the code, just the steps, right from the first step away.
Yeah, sure. So for any integration, so service and client. So first thing is, so first concentrate on the service, or So because you have to be a clear picture before writing the code. So what exactly the service do and what exactly the client do. So as per my requirement, I'm going to pass the city. I'm going to pass the string value from the client, and that will be received in the service. What the service do? Service has to receive the parameter that I pass from the client and identify how many customers I have in the service. Or I'm not going to search the data in the client. If it is the search operation in the client, you can write the normal Apex. It is not required any service code. So I'm going to pass the parameter from client arg to service, or where I am writing a SOQL query here, where I'm writing a SOQL query and preparing the wrapper response. So when I hit the service, when I hit the service method, I'm going to return list of records, list of wrapper records. This will return the list of records. So that's it. So rest of the parameters, I mean the partner widget we have already generated, and we know the credentials in the custom labels. I'm going to use a common method where I can make the connection and back the session ID. So that is in the client org. So go to the client, you have the connection, a common method, so you can use n times. This can be used to n times, n number of times you can use the same method, and it returns. So it will make a connection always to SFDC and back the session ID. So here I'm going to invoke. This is a connection code. I'm going to invoke and getting the session ID. And as I told you, so session header element, you have to prepare the session header element. So this is the one, and invoking the method. So using the class instance, because just check the class, a class method. So return customer is a method. So we need to identify where it is. So here return customer. So this is a method which is inside of the customer data service. So create an instance for it. OBJ1 is the instance for customer data service, and invoking the method. When it invokes, what are the additional parameters it requires? City. So anyway, I'm passing the city from the Visualforce page and making a call out. So it returns back the results. What is the type of data you are getting? So this is the type of data. So here this is a wrapper, the array declarations. You can convert it to list. So you get the list of records in this declaration. So and iterate each record, prepare your own inner list, the wrapper list, and use a list in the Visualforce pages. So to display the information, just making the callouts. So here the service callout is an additional one. Rest of the data is, the action region, and the re-render functionality, which is a normal Apex code. When you execute an Ajax, when you execute an Ajax functionality, in case if you find any required fields on the Visualforce, we deal with the action regions, because any Ajax actions look for the client validations first, then only go for the server validation. So because without filling the required fields in the client, you cannot perform the server action. So but how can you do? So using the action region. Action region is Ajax element where it tells the forge.com server which portion of the which portion of the page should be loaded when the Ajax action is running. I mean which portion of the Ajax action should be executed. So that the statements that you put inside of the action regions only participated in the action method. The rest of the statements it never considered. So just displaying the data using a page block table and using the re-render functionality. So simpler the code is. So you can write a number of services like this. It's very easy to consume the services once you have in the service. The service people always. So we cannot say that you work for only the service or that you work for the client too. Sometimes SFDC can be the service. Sometimes SFDC can be the client. It depends on your requirement. So this is generic approach. So in case if you receive the WHDL files, if you receive the WHDL files from the external system, so you need to work more. From the SFDC developer side, they have to work more. In case if you are just sharing the WHDL, so your work is less. So if you are passing the data from SFDC to